I think I had a good idea that I was, might possibly start. So I wasn't really surprised by it, but just kind of focused and just trying to get prepared for Sunday.
You had a chance to sit back at all and just reflect on the journey to this point, and try to kind of give meaning to it before you really just focus on the game itself?
No, not really. I'm trying to just keep all the outside distractions out of the way and just focus on Sunday and prepare the best I can. I think I'm ready. Of course, I've been preparing for this moment a long time, so my mindset doesn't change. I'm still gonna play like football and just prepare the best I can, like I said before, and just get a lot of practice reps in and just study, and just get more comfortable and more confident with the plays and stuff like that.
When Andy Dalton was scheduled to appear on the podium and then he wasn't, then all of a sudden we heard, Stacey, that Matt Nagy would come into the room and speak, and he had not been on the schedule.
Yeah, first of all, you never want to see an injury like this for Andy Dalton. He is out indefinitely. Matt Nagy, the head coach, would not declare him going to IR, which would be a minimum of 3 games missed. So while we monitor that, I am here at Hallis Hall in Lake Forest, Illinois. We are roughly an hour from downtown Chicago. I can hear Bears fans from here. So excited about this because now they get to see their guy who the Chicago Bears have been using sparingly. Everybody's been sort of clamoring for this guy to start, Justin Fields. And there is a level of excitement, I would tell you, around here in the building. And just hearing from tight end Cole Kmet, unwavering confidence was a term that he used to describe Justin Fields. Head coach Matt Nagy, I asked him, what was the reaction of Fields when you told him? And he said, stoic. The guy is so poised. It's a word that comes up recurringly when people describe Justin Fields. And I expect, though, a big change, Mark, in terms of this game plan. I asked Nagy, what makes Justin Fields comfortable out there? Of course, he's got the legs. He's got the arm talent. He has the whole package. I think for the Bears, while they're not willing at this stage to share the game plan, who would with us in terms of the scheme, they are going to get this guy out and cut him loose a little bit. And I loved Cole Kmet's comments. He said, hey, there's a play that's called, and then there's a second play. The scramble drill right now for the Chicago Bears, he said, is really alive at practice, Mark. It'll be fun to see him come out against the Browns on Sunday.
You're right. It's going to be fun to see Justin Fields, and I've been talking about this for a while, Stacey, to get this guy onto the field. And you never want to see someone get hurt, as you said, but this might be the Wally Pipp moment for Andy Dalton where he doesn't see his job back, because I believe in Justin Fields. As you mentioned, this guy has been a star his whole life. He's been preparing for this. This adversity, whatever he faces, won't faze him. You saw in game 1, you saw the great, you saw the average, you saw the bad. He threw that bad interception, but he came right back and made plays to help Chicago win. And that's what you want in a young star and a young playmaker who can do versatile things but overcome adversity. I was around a young Donovan McNabb as a rookie. He got thrown into the fire there towards the middle of the season, faced adversity, came out on the better end of it. And I see this for Justin Fields. And you mentioned the confidence, not just the fans, but his teammates see this guy every day. And you can't account for how much teammates believe in a guy, and they see what he can do. And I think you'll see a rejuvenated and better Bears offense with Justin Fields with a full week of practice and being able to make those plays on the field, Andrew, that few in the NFL, I think, can do, like Justin Fields will be able to show.
I said on Monday that we're going to run some more tests. We ran those tests. Tua he'll be out this week. He has fractured ribs. So obviously he's in a lot of pain. So he'll be out this week. Jacoby will start. And we're just going to take it week to week, really, let's call it day to day and week to week. But he'll be out this week. Just kind of want to, put that out there right now. Look, this is a tough kid. He wants to play. He's actually trying to play. And we're just going to save him from himself a little bit on this and hold him out this week and then take it week to week from there.
Save him from himself. And again, they are in Vegas to face the Raiders, a rematch from that great game, that classic we had in December a year ago. Cameron Wolfe now with us live on Dolphins Cam, back from the practice field as Jacoby Brissett gets ready for the Raiders. What'd you see, Cam? How are they prepping for Vegas?
Yeah, I just got off the practice field maybe 30 minutes ago, and it was Jacoby Brissett as the lead quarterback. Tua wasn't out there at all. As Brian Flores mentioned, those fractured ribs, it came as a bit of a surprise for the Dolphins. There was some initial optimism after those tests after the game that there wasn't a fracture, there wasn't significant damage, and that he had a chance to play. Tua has really pushed and wanted to play this week, but he came in a lot of pain, and so they did more tests, and that's when they found that fracture. And that's really a bummer. Brian Flores said today, this is not what we wanted. This is unfortunate. And for Tua, the good news is that this is not going to be something that keeps him out for the season. From what I understand, this is an injury that should be measured in weeks and not months. But it's probably going to be tough for him to play even next week against the Colts. So it'll be Jacoby Brissett's show for the immediate future. And for Brissett, he didn't play well last week against the Bills either, so he needs to get a lot more rhythm with this Dolphins receiving group, and it's a really important week for the Dolphins to bounce back from that 35-0 beatdown against the Bills. So the Dolphins are looking at this as a short-term injury for Tua, but Jacoby, all eyes are on him. He spoke after the game and said, I don't view myself as a backup, I view myself as a starter, and now he'll get that opportunity. They'll have to protect him a lot better than they did Tua.
With maybe some shuffling on the offensive line as well. And while this may be a short-term thing for Tua, long-term implications here for the Dolphins and the Raiders. There could be a tiebreaker that maybe factors here in December. So this is a big one. Thank you, Cam Wolfe there in Miami. Tua out this week. Jacoby Brissett is the...
I just know it happened early in the game, and I'm going to do everything I can. Typically when I reach for something outside the framework of my body, or try and push up get up off of something, the ground or something like that.
So I guess, is that him saying, hi there, Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo. Ian, is that Ben saying, well, don't let me get sacked because then I can't push myself up off the ground?
Well, I would think Ben would like to not get sacked no matter what, but he does also hold on to the ball, and sometimes sacks happen. I think with Roethlisberger, the biggest thing here is he's obviously an older quarterback. Keeping him upright is always paramount. These kinds of nagging injuries, which for years, Roethlisberger has been able to play through, always on the injury report, barely practices, always a gamer and plays very well. How much of a difference is this going to make now that he's a little bit older, and is this sort of the start of the kind of nagging injuries? Generally, when it comes to throwing, injuries can move from one part of a body to another. That's one thing the Steelers have to be very careful of. They do believe he's going to play. Not practice probably too much this week, but they do believe he's going to play. I would describe it as something more to monitor going forward than something concerning right now. But obviously it's week 3, and really nobody wants an injury to their quarterback, despite the fact that we got a lot of them around the league.
He's no longer in the boot? Is that what Frank Reich said?
Well, yeah, he wasn't in the boot after the game on Sunday. Then he was over the last couple of days, with Tom Pelissero adding that not only was he in the boot, he had the boot on one of those scooters, so he didn't put any weight on the right foot. The right ankle is the one that they're more concerned about. He's got sprains in both ankles. Frank Reich would not say which one is high or which one is low. He wouldn't get into that, just says there's sprains in both ankles. But you saw on this hit from Aaron Donald the way that his ankle got twisted, so that's why they're more worried about the right one. Basically what they're doing is trying to get as much treatment as possible, see what they can do in 48 hours. That's what Reich called it. I would say that's from Monday into Tuesday into today. He said they're still within that period. So he's going to do some stuff at some point today just to see how he feels. And then is he on the practice field by Friday? Reich said usually that's our barometer, but we will make exceptions along the way. Wentz, you would think the starting quarterback would be an exception if he could play on Sunday, having not practiced by Friday. We shall see, but the Colts remain hopeful that it'll be him, not Jacob Eason. We'll have to see as the week goes on.
Or maybe even Brett Hundley. Pelissero threw that name
Did
out
not
there
say
yesterday
yes.
as well. It was
And-
Jacob Eason who had to come in there at the end, yeah.
Yeah. And Reich was asked about that today. He said, let's just focus on seeing if Carson Wentz is ready. It was his way of dodging the question. So, yes, Brett Hundley's still in the conversation as well.
Last week, Kevin Stefanski came out early in the week and said, I'll tell you right now, he's not playing. He didn't do that today.
No, and that's probably a pretty good sign. And I would say this, there's a lot of caution about Odell Beckham. Remember, they believed that there was a good chance he'd be out there week 1. Obviously did not happen, as he's still trying to come back from that ACL and still trying to prove that he is 100%. But probably more optimism today, he is full go at practice. So that's good. No one will say definitively that he's going to play. And my guess is they'll go throughout the week and just see how he feels, see how his body responds. Maybe on Friday they'll have a better idea. But this is at least a very good sign early in the week that we may see the debut of Odell this coming week.
Okay, a lot of people thought he would go week 1. Didn't happen. Week 2, Stefanski earlier in the week said, yeah, forget about it. Week 3, I'm telling you, there's a chance. Browns, Bears, the Justin Fields debut. Garofalo, what about Zach Wilson? Because he popped up with an injury to watch here as well today.
Yes, a groin injury according to Robert Saleh. However, Wilson expected to be a full go in practice. Saleh doesn't seem concerned about it at all. But now you get into the, hey, wait a minute, do the Jets have an experienced backup? Well, if you look at their roster, it's just Mike White behind Zach Wilson. But don't forget about the practice squad. Josh Johnson is there. You would think that they would rely on that experience if they need to. However, they're not at that point with Zach Wilson, unconcerned about the physical ailment. Where is he mentally, though, after that game the other day? Because I'll tell you what, that was a rookie that looked like he was seeing, in the words of Kyle Van Noy, the Patriots linebacker who was not playing but tweeted it, ghosts. Threw that one out there again.
Seeing ghosts, a Sam Darnold line from a few years ago. I'm seeing, great stuff on TikTok breaking down Jets film as well. You have to be able to laugh at it and move on here, and the Jets hope that they can do exactly that. Even Robert Saleh said today. Yeah, I go on the TikTok every now and then. Robert Saleh said today that everyone has advice, including his mother, who he says speaks broken English and doesn't even know how many yards you need for a first down, but is telling him how he should be coaching up the wide receivers. And he says that's
Love
great.
it.
Everyone's got ideas. From what you've seen so far, whether it's the second half last week or the very little action he saw at SoFi week 1, what do you think?
Well, Andrew, I think Justin Fields has a ways to go. When I watch him play, he's making some plays, and he's very athletic. And so we've seen that throughout the preseason, that when things break down, he definitely has the ability to extend plays and make some big plays. We've seen the big arm. He's got the ability to make those second-level throws down the field. Just the one thing that I want to see when he gets into game action and consistent game action is, can he speed things up a little bit? I feel like he's a little bit slow in seeing what's going on and processing things and getting the ball out on time. Not that he's not getting it to the right guy, but it's just a tick late. And in the NFL, when you're a tick late, that can mean incompletions, that can mean interceptions, that can mean bad plays for your team offensively. And so that's the one thing that I have to see. And as with all these guys, it's going to come with time as they slow the game down, they get familiar with what they're doing offensively. But that's my big concern here in the short term as he becomes a starter, is just being able to speed that up, see it, and get the ball out of his hands.
To me, a little surprising, Matt Nagy made the announcement on Wednesday. Obviously, he doesn't want to lie to anybody, but on Monday he was kind of coy and he was ducking and dodging. Just flat out came today and said, hey, let's move forward. It is going to be Justin Fields, but Andy Dalton is still the starter when he is healthy. Just don't know when that is going to be. Derek Carr expected to start as well. Kurt, this week for the Raiders, they get the Dolphins through 2 weeks. These numbers are just ridiculous. 817 yards for Derek Carr, which is the most in any 2-game span for any Raider quarterback ever. Kurt, I know we've kind of asked the Derek Carr question 100 times when you and I talk. And by the way, thrilled that you're going to be back with us weekly here on Now. Through 2 weeks from what you've seen, are these the real Raiders? Like, has the light gone on now finally for Carr in this offense?
Well, Andrew, I think this is less about the offense if we're looking at the big picture of this Raiders team, and it's been more about the defense and the way that they've played. I think their offense has been solid for a number of years. And Derek Carr, I've always been a big fan of Derek Carr. To me, the difference is when Derek Carr plays aggressive football. When he says to himself, hey, I'm not worried about making a mistake. I'm not worried about passing on a check down to try to put pressure on the defense and threaten the defense each and every time out. That's when this team is really, really good. That's when they have a difference-making team, and it opens everything else up for them to score points and to build up these yards. And that's what I've seen. Even in the first game, I called the first game on Monday night, and he missed a number of those shots early in the game as they came out of the blocks a little bit slow. But to me, I just seeing him attack down the field, I'm saying, okay, maybe we're getting a little different Derek Carr, and it continued through the game. He made the huge play in overtime to get that win. We saw last week against the Steelers. There was one time where he laid that deep ball out to Henry Ruggs where you might look at the defense and say, I'm not sure that was the right read because there was a safety back there on the other side. But Derek was just saying, let me eye the safety. He's slow playing a little bit. Boom, I'm going after him, and I go get a big play. If he continues to play aggressive, their defense continues to play the way that they play, I think we're going to be talking about a Raiders team that pushes or probably makes the playoffs.
Henry Ruggs, by the way, the fastest guy in the field, that probably eases his decision as well. Throw it out there, see if this guy can go get it. Before we get to the trailer here, you and I have talked plenty in the past about whether or not this Ravens offense is sustainable, let's put it that way. But in years past, they had a great stable of running backs, right? Lamar didn't have to be seemingly the primary ball carrier, but he kind of was the way they beat the Chiefs on Sunday night. Can that work long term, Kurt? Because he's carrying them.
Well, I think if a defense gives him that, yeah, it can work. I mean, the guy is special. The guy is incredible when he gets the ball in his hands and he puts his head down and he decides he's got to make plays. The question really becomes is when you are so used to playing that brand of football and you get to the playoffs or you get against these good teams that have the ability to slow that part of football down, now can you win the other way? Can you win throwing the football and the consistency of throwing the football? But, you know, Lamar, he's so elusive that I do believe they can play this way, and I believe this offense is built for the regular season. What I want to see is this offense built for the postseason, or do they have the ability to adjust to win in the postseason playing a different way?
I strongly believe in everybody's ability to have an opinion, and I respect the fact that they have an opinion and should have an opinion. My issue is a platform given to individuals who only desire to say inflammatory things that are not based in fact, right? So personally, I think I would be a little sensitive to people questioning my commitment to this team. Said it from the start. If I wasn't 100% committed to the squad and my team, then I wouldn't have come back. Now, maybe people thought that was, you know, some sort of cliche line or obligatory statement, but it was the truth. Now, whether or not you understand my attitude or, you know, my off the field interest in meditation or a more focused or centered lifestyle, that's fine. Not everybody's going to understand or relate to that or get that. But to use statements like that or things I did in the off season or my own mental status that I actually explained many times in this room or in this forum as the basis for statements around me not caring or not being invested with my team is not rooted in fact. It's not correct. And I do enjoy the opportunity to correct misinformation like that.